Today we're going to be talking about different ways to approach natal chart interpretation. Now, the twist here is that we've got a number of mystery charts that our wonderful student panelists are trying to delineate and see how accurate their statements are going to be. So let's introduce our wonderful panel. So can you all introduce yourselves with your name, your big three, and how long you've been studying at Kepler College for?
All right, guys, my name is Jazzy. I have been studying at Kepler College for about a year. Is that right? We've all been there the same amount of time.
Yeah.
All right, so for about a year, and I am a Pisces sun, a Aries ascendant, and a Cancer moon.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Chelsea?
Hi, I'm Chelsea Collins, and Jazzy, Laura, and I, like he said, I've all been at Kepler for about a year now. I am a Sagittarius sun, Pisces ascendant, and Scorpio moon.
Wonderful. And Laura?
Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Canzano. I've been at Kepler since January as well. I am a Virgo rising with a Pisces sun and a Cancer moon.
Wonderful. So we're going to put all your skills to the test today. Now, one of the advantages of using mystery charts is that if you pull up a chart and you already know who it is, say it's a celebrity, you've already got preconceived ideas or notions when you're looking at the planetary connections or delineating the chart. So one of the fun things about the mystery charts is that it's the raw astrology that you guys are going to have to look at. And for everybody watching, if you spot anything that we've missed, pop it in the chat. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well. So who wants to take a go at it first? What do we all see in this chart and what stands out to you guys?
Mercury retrograde is ruling from the 10th house. He's ruling first, the whole chart, really. He's also ruling the 10th house, and he's in retrograde. So I kind of get already a person that's either in review, likes to review things. I don't know. Chelsea, don't make me do this all by myself. Lord, Chelsea.
Well, I was going to say, like, it's interesting because then if you look at it's in rulership, so this person knows the opportunities ahead of them and they're going to grab it. The fact that their 10th house is so stacked, I would assume this person's very into their careers. A career in Gemini is usually communication or radio, podcasts. I'm thinking maybe someone who definitely is out in the world, maybe even news, likes to transmit information to the world. And then you have that Jupiter that's like at 1 degree in the 11th house. 11th house is for others, caring for others, and ruled by a moon in Leo which is brings us back to the sun. What's interesting too is it has a lot of activity in the 12th house. As we know, 12th house is the self-undoing house, or the house of, so maybe they work with people who will have a hard time. Maybe it's a TV show that helps people who has a hard time. I don't know. I'm just trying to make up guests. I don't know.
With Virgo ascendant, I feel like maybe I get editor vibes along with Mercury retrograde ruling the Virgo ascendant.
Yeah, an editor would be good.
Yeah, somebody who's editing, like you said, something in TV, something maybe a book editor, or someone who makes sure that things are situated. You have Saturn right there, co-present with Mercury retrograde, and just gives me the vibe that it's someone who's making sure things are in order.
And I do think it has something to do with like making things beautiful, right? Because you have the two planets that are encapsulating the whole chart is Venus and Neptune. Venus in Taurus is in rulership, so it's a very strong Venus. So really someone that makes things in the world practically beautiful, right? Earth. And then Neptune Virgo is another earth sign. So it's, bringing dreams to reality in a very detailed manner, may I add. And because it's on the ascendant, that person might look dreamy themselves, right? They might be a very beautiful, ethereal, person, good looking.
Well, these are wonderful delineations, and certainly when we found out who this person is, a lot of your statements are ringing true already. So how about you, Chelsea? What sticks out to you? I know we focused a lot on that Mercury as well. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, if I'm looking at the big picture of everything, I don't feel like this is someone that might be super self-aware of themselves or kind of where they fit into the whole thing. The reason why I'm saying that is because you do have the Mercury retrograde, but it is applying to Saturn. And that usually is a signal of like a delay or having to learn to become patient with something. You have Neptune on the ascendant. Again, somebody that might not be as self-aware as, you know, maybe other people see them, because all of this is in the first house. So you have kind of like a dichotomy between the way they perceive, way maybe the public perceives them versus the way that they perceive themselves, just in the nature of the energy of the way the ruling planets of the 1st and the 10th are showing up energetically, especially within the moon and the 12th. So to me, there's a lot of significations of delays or just somebody that might have to be patient and wait for things to, you know, develop over the course of their life through maybe a series of self-awareness events that happen to them. So yeah, I think that they have a lot of help, obviously, with Jupiter and exaltation in the 11th house. And
It's a fairly dignified chart overall.
It is, yeah, but I don't see this as something that it's definitely something that is, you know, that they create. It's something that they can have the ability to do on their own, just because of the way the planets are situated within that chart. And the you know, the eastern half of the chart is a little bit more about, you know, having self action oriented stuff as opposed to waiting for others if it was on the western side. And you know, in the 4th quadrant, you know, it's something that they have the ability to do. I don't feel like they have a lot of self-awareness, or they might have a bit of might be a bit unsure of themselves. So that would be, you know, kind of just the overall energy feeling I'm getting so far from the chart.
Wonderful. Great delineations. And I love how when we pulled up this chart, that Mercury you all honed in on. And of course, it's the chart ruler. It's the ruler of the midheaven. It's conjunct the midheaven, even though it's separating. So we definitely got an element here of communicating, but maybe that retrograde has a point as well. But very strong. It is angular as well. So really, really interesting statement. So you talked here about quadrants and hemispheres. So speak more about that. What are you guys thinking in terms of that as well?
Well, someone that is, you know, you divide the chart in 4, that's what we learned. And you have the eastern side, the western side. Someone who's mostly on their planets on the eastern side tends to be more outwardly, either outwardly focused if it's on the north, so it's south, the top of the chart versus the bottom of the chart. So as we can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planets in that left corner, and that's someone who is assertive, but will like the world to know about it. They're a bit of an extrovert in that sense.
I think that certainly applies to this person is, and when we reveal who it is, I think that very, very much applies. So house systems are interesting. Of course, here we've got whole sign. But if we want to take this in maybe in a quadrant house system, maybe Placidus, what we're going to do here is we're going to move some of that 12th stuff into the 11th, and then move I think the Jupiter Sun into the 10th, and we've got some 9th going on there as well. So how would you guys maybe think about that using different house systems?
That's a good point. I think it would emphasize the 11th house in the sense that it's someone that's really cares about what the world thinks or is doing things for the world, maybe whether they care or not about it, but like it's definitely, that's what would re-emphasize that need for that person.
Jazzy, yeah, Chelsea, what are your thoughts?
With Pluto and Mars in the 12th, I wonder if what this person does is kind of tucked away in the back, but maybe the outcome of their work is seen out in the public. Mars is ruling 3rd house and 8th house. So I'm getting strong sort of editor vibes, but I just wonder if this is somebody who controls things from the background or facilitates people from the background or something like that.
Jazzy, keep that in mind because you've hit the nail on the head. So I like how you're bringing in the 12th and the 11th. So maybe in the background, doing something there, and then maybe pushes out into the world. But keep that in mind, because that very much applies to this person. Excellent.
Like a creative director of some sort, or like a producer.
Oh, you guys are so brilliant.
Yeah, because it's in Leo, so yeah, there's a little stage back there, you know. So yeah, it could be somebody who is producing or editing or writing in the background for some sort of production. Definitely.
So if we did our foundational energy or our chart signature, so for anybody watching, this is kind of when we tally up the modalities and the elements, and to see if there's a sign or area of life that's highlighted. So if we want to go through it quickly, how many planets do we have in Cardinal?
Cardinal,
Two.
none.
We have
One.
two. One.
Just
I'm
the
sorry.
one? Yep.
I'm looking at Lilith.
Sorry, yeah, Lilith's in there as well. So we've got, just in planets, we've got Jupiter, one. So how many we've got for fixed?
One.
We have 3, 4, 5 fixed. You have Venus and Taurus, and then all the Leo.
All the Leo as well.
You're counting Chiron?
That's Chiron. So we've got 4. Yeah. I know it's confusing when we throw everything else in there. So we've got 1 for cardinal, 4 for fixed. How many have we got for mutable?
1, 2, 3, 4,
5.
5. Okay, so mutable in terms of modality wins out in this case. Let's go through our elements. So what have we got for fire?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4 including Chiron, yeah.
Yeah, so 3.
If you want to throw in that, yep, 3. What have we got for air?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
4 air as well.
And for earth?
1.
2.
2, sorry.
Yep, 2 for earth. And for water?
Just the one.
Just the one, the lonely Jupiter cardinal water. So together, what is that giving us in terms of the foundational energy or the chart signature of this particular person?
I have mutable air. Is that correct?
Mutable air. Yeah. So what do you want to say about that? What comes to mind if you with maybe thinking about this native? We don't know if it's skilled or unskilled, but what's coming to mind for you guys?
Somebody a lot of good multitasker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody who can do multiple things in the 10th house, leadership, especially with the sun there and Saturn, disciplined, maybe has a few different roles that they play within their career.
I would say someone also that likes to use their voice.
Yeah,
you know, that likes to
keep that in mind, Gloria, because you've nailed it. So when we reveal who it is,
podcaster, it's a podcaster. Joe Rogan. It's Joe Rogan.
We'll see. But I love how you pull in the pieces together and delineate in this way. Absolutely wonderful. Anything else that you want to say about this particular chart?
It's someone that it's an interesting chart, because I would wonder what is going on in their personal life, you know, because it's the first thing you see is just career. If someone gave me this chart and I just look at it, I was like, oh, damn, career is very important to you. I'm sure other things are important to this person in their lives, but it really is.
Well, like you say, we have a preponderance of planets in the southern hemisphere. We've kind of got a wedge going on here. And that 10th house stellium, it's kind of like, okay, this is a lot of public going on, public roles, communication, all those kind of things. You're hitting the nail on the head. Absolutely.
Right. It's like somebody who's not really meant to be at home or in private. They keep continually getting drawn out into the public. They can hide if they wanted to.
The 4th house is like ruled by Jupiter, which is in the 11th. So it's like even their home life is not private, you know. Maybe they're a lot in the tabloids. We getting closer?
You're getting very close, very close. And I like you talking about that Jupiter, because you mentioned before it's an exalted directed Jupiter in its exceedant house in the 11th in this whole sign chart. What might that denote for you guys? What would you think about?
There's maybe a lot of love for the public for that person. There's like a lot of nurturing. Is it Britney Spears?
No.
Friends
in high places. I remember feeling like Steve Jobs had a exalted Jupiter in the 11th house, and that was the indication of like Steve Wozniak, who gave him like a huge boost when they went into partnership together and formed Apple. I think there was like a similar theme there, but it's interesting that Jupiter ruling the 4th house in this chart, if it goes to Placidus, I'm not quite sure what happens, but I know Jupiter goes into the 10th. So it would be like some sort of maybe a family connection, or there was people in his, there maybe people previously in his family did something similar, her family. Maybe they were series of actors or series of directors or series of people in tech or series of, getting his exposure to the roots of what he does or she does every single day, giving them a boost into allowing them to remain in the public or to become public.
Absolutely.
Like Nepo baby.
Great delineations. Okay, any final thoughts on this first chart before we reveal who it is? And any wild guesses?
I can't.
I stand by Joe Rogan. Just kidding.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, let's reveal who it is. Okay, Paul McCartney. What do we think?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
100%.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you see how a lot of your
Voice, the
statements, even
singer.
with a mystery chart, how you're delineating, and a lot of what you're saying has come about in Paul McCartney's life. So what strikes you guys about now you know who it is? What strikes you?
Well, I mean, friends in high places for sure. That Jupiter in the 11th house. You've got, they were famous for being a band, a group of people. He was a part of that. It was awesome. So good. And I like how Laura was great with the whole, how Venus and Neptune kind of, enclosed all of these planets. Very, Venus Neptunian, singer, songwriter, artist. Yeah, just
and the ladies loved him back in the day.
Oh, he was one of the pinup boys, wasn't he? And had in the bedrooms and different things. So yeah, you hit that one.
And with Mercury retrograde in the 10th house, just having a very public Mercury retrograde, I feel like their lyrics have been the best in review. Everyone has oogled and marveled over their song lyrics since the beginning of time.
That's a wonderful point. And you're also picking on a point because I think he wrote most of the Beatles songs as well. I think maybe over 70. And so, yeah, that Mercury component, so important in this chart. Like, again, chart ruler, rules of midheaven, conjunct the MC, even though separating, angle up there in the 10th, part of this foundational energy or this chart signature. It's kind of literal. It just kind of screams everything Mercury, songwriting, communicating, all those kind of things, which you guys absolutely hit the nail on the head with. Absolutely.
What's amazing is I think Uranus is transiting that Venus, and opposite is part of Fortune right now. And didn't they just release a new song?
Oh, there you go. Right, there you go.
That's right.
the final Beatles song.
I love that. It's just he continues to stay relevant, like Jazzy says. I mean, who does that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a very dignified chart, and he's had a very dignified life. You guys mentioned the Venus. Obviously, we've got the Mercury, the exalted Jupiter. The only issue, maybe, when we're looking at this chart, if we see that moon in the 12th, I believe his mother sadly passed away quite young. So if you want to take the moon as mother, I know people see it at different things. That may be an area conjunct Chiron as well. So maybe one of the downsides of his life. But yeah, a lot of concentration in the public, and he's been in the public now for how many decades? I don't know.
Several, since the 60s, right?
Forever. A long time. Okay, excellent job on the first mystery chart. Let's go to the next one. Okay.
Awesome. Good warm-up.
Good warm-up. This one's more diffuse. This one's more over the way. So go right ahead. Whatever you want.
We also have a Mercury ruled chart because it's Gemini ascendant. The Mercury is found in the 9th house. So it's averse to the ascendant, correct? Right? Let's see.
No, Mercury sees the ascendant.
Yeah, we've got the Mercury applying trine to the ascendant. It's a little bit wide, but it's getting there.
What's so interesting is that there's so many planets in domicile or exaltation in this chart. You have Jupiter in rulership, you have Venus in exaltation, you have the moon in rulership, you have Mars in exaltation. And so, from what we have been taught at Kepler is, sometimes that's not always an asset to the native. There's a lot of planets wanting to do their own thing and going their own way, and sometimes they tend to get into conflict with each other, and the native might have difficult times making decisions or taking action, just kind of depending on what is seeming to dominate at the time.
That's such a wonderful delineation. This certainly applies to who this person is. So when we find out, those themes that you've just been talking about are 100% true for this person. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, Jazz.
I agree with you, Chelsea. I think I see someone who wants to do their own thing, or who would be attracted to doing their own thing. Gemini definitely likes to keep things moving and keep things interesting. The MC is an Aquarius. Aquarius likes a little freedom so they can be their Aquarian selves. So this person might be drawn into a career that allows a little freedom. Being so air heavy, Pluto is in the 5th house of Libra. So I feel like this is a person that would enjoy maybe something cerebral, maybe something that is but a Pisces sun. I get cerebral, I get intelligence, but I also get with Venus and Sun in Pisces, someone who's emotionally aware and would probably be publicly known for that. Jupiter is in Pisces too. So a very loving person, or at least known as that.
I think that very, very much applies to this person. Yep. And a lot of what they do as well. Yep.
I think the Pluto Mercury connection is probably has to do with being able to control the beauty of the messages that are put out, or the teachings. Maybe this person is a teacher in some way, because their ruling planet is in the 9th, and 9th house is philosophy, education, higher education. So, or someone who through their job kind of teach. There's also that big trine that you see between the South Node, Mercury, and so they really feel motivated. It comes from really within to communicate and to teach, or for the benefit of others, because their house, their Pisces 10th house, spiritual leader, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I like where you're going to certain degrees.
I can't help but notice the Moon Saturn conjunction in the 2nd house would speak to maybe some sort of sense of real like trauma or loss, or a feeling of not ever having enough, maybe from a emotional standpoint of like family or mom or something, where they suffered something in the past, as it's separating from Saturn, the moon is. And so therefore that has motivated this person to then become such a giver in a public way. If you tie in the ruler, the ascendant ruler in the 9th house of beliefs, and in a humanitarian sign like Aquarius, to the Piscean 10th house of, just empathy and wanting to do what's best for the collective, when you have Jupiter and Venus there, getting into a position because of their past of having to suffer and whatever that was, to then make sure that, they can contribute to the world in a way that might collectively affect to the benefit of society.
That's such a beautiful delineation, and it's completely spot on for the person we're talking about. And it's quite interesting you honed in that moon, because obviously it's a strong moon, domicile moon, but you said it's conjunct to malefic, although separating, but also applying towards the outer set malefic as well, and a wide square to Pluto. But it's quite interesting how you're bringing in and tying that in together, because it's very much spot on for who this person is. So wonderful.
Yeah, the opposition of Mars, also the 2nd, 8th house, like maybe even the actions are directed towards other people's money, or this person helps get other people money, or there's something with the underbelly of society that this person helps, maybe, or like with their action, and they're very motivated to do it because Mars is exalted. So it's a very important motivator, other people's money or other people's,
well, yeah, I mean, the ruler of the 11th, that exalted Mars in the 8th house, you know, maybe there's a lot, this person could speak to people that have had similar experiences to them, that have also kind of gotten into a good place in life to where they could help this cause. And so they would be willing to help this native get to where they need to be, because they have exaltation basically is a planet that has whatever it needs from its host, which is in the 2nd house of money. And so, you know, again, a lot of support behind whatever this native is really called to be doing.
Jazzy, you were going to say something, I think.
I was actually just going to tie what both of you said together. I think that possibly whatever this person has gone through, whatever hardship this person has had, is probably a direct link to what they do now, and how they help people, and how they. I agree. Mars is ruling the 11th house. Chiron is in the 11th house. So I could be dealing with the trauma of you know, the public, or helping people overcome some hardship.
Society,
That type of thing. Yeah.
Adding to that, Mars also rules the 6th house of everyday work, right? Like what this person does day in and day out. It's interesting that Uranus is tied to the lot of fortune. It brings them fortune for sure. And it's an ever-changing field. It feels like there's always something to be done. So I don't know if it has to do with, I don't want to say technology, because I don't feel like this person helps out people with technology, but I do think there's something about this ever-evolving, quick turnaround. You know, they're probably having to do a lot of things on a day-to-day basis. Like it's always changing. There's always a new thing to take care of, kind of thing.
Maybe like Maverick type energy, you know, with Aquarius and Uranus, and you've got that Mars. I don't know.
Wonderful. I love where you guys are coming together. I love having astrologers come together and delineate charts and bounce ideas off each other. So absolutely fantastic. Okay. Any last things we want to say about this chart before we reveal who it is? Foundational energy. Can you do that off the top of your head? Chart signature.
There's,
I would say mutable water.
You've got it. That's very quick. Because we have the dominant element, which is water. So we've got the sun, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Moon, and Uranus. So we know water clearly wins out. And then the mutability as well. So yeah, mutable water. Any thoughts on that? Foundational energy chart signature?
It's my foundational energy. So speaking from experience, it is someone that might let also life take them places, and then be able to act on whatever's thrown their way. It's not someone that well, with their Mercury in Aquarius, it is someone that's very cerebral, but I do think it's someone that also leads with their emotion a bit more. For someone who has a Mercury in Aquarius, who tends to be a bit detached, I would think, you know, the sun and moon would take over for this person, the water signs.
Very, very good take. Yeah. Any last thoughts on our second mystery chart? And if anybody watching, if you've got any thoughts about what we're talking about here, or anything that we haven't spotted, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear everybody else's thoughts too. So what are we thinking? Any final thoughts on this, or any wild guesses again?
I don't have a guess. Mother Teresa, just kidding.
Yeah. Okay, let's see who it is.
Oh,
okay, Drew Barrymore.
Oh yeah, she's such a Pisces, man. She's like so mutable water. It's insane. Like,
but she's a fantastic actress who can deliver lines like nobody's business. So I definitely see all of the air and all of the water, because we know her like that.
and she has her show, which is all about like caring and loving for others, and it's a fast-paced world. She does every day what she produces that show, and she does, she put it on herself for sure.
And she certainly offers her vulnerability up to inspire other people to, be honest about what they're going through. So it definitely ties into what the points that you and Chelsea made earlier. Yeah.
Yeah,
how wonderful you guys are.
Her
A lot of what
family
you're saying is so apparent for Drew Barrymore. Sorry, Chelsea, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say her family has that history of addiction and alcoholism. And so you can kind of see that reflected within the Saturn moon, kind of a tough go there from a value standpoint early on in life.
And you honed in, and it was such an important point that you made, because if you bring in the second house of finance as well, I believe the mother, she had to either cut her off, or I think she does like just make sure she's okay and stuff. But her mother took her out to all these parties, doing all sorts of things under the sun. So there was not an easy relationship with that mother. And you picked that up quite early on as you were speaking. You guys are brilliant. Any final thoughts on this before we move on to our final mystery chart?
Oh, doing good.
You guys are so brilliant, like I say, pulling up, because it's not easy to see a chart, like I say, when it's just the raw astrology, you don't know who it is, no preconceived ideas, and to pull out the information you did, and really reflect her life as well. I know, Jazzy, you picked out that Chiron before in the 11th. I think recently she got in a bit of trouble with the public or her fans because of the strike, didn't she? And she decided to go on with the show, but then she came back and she was all mutable water. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I made such a mistake. Please forgive me. And I think everyone did.
What's interesting is that in her show, she actually has, I think it's Eliza Kelly is the astrologer who she has like a little sidebar in her show. So she actually does really believe in astrology, and she promotes that in her show. So it's pretty amazing.
That's quite interesting. I didn't know that. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like the ruler of the 12th and the 10th conjunct Jupiter. It's pretty cool.
Wonderful. Okay, on to our final mystery chart. This is the one. Okay, what springs to mind? What's coming up for you guys?
You really like the mutable.
You know what? I didn't even really vet the charts I did, so I don't know if it was just subconsciously. I was just picking up different charts, so I apologize, because I've got another Moon Saturn here as well. So the next episode, I'll pick a wider array of charts. So anyway, forgive me. Carry on.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, another interesting chart. You have the ruler of this chart in the 4th house in detriment, but it's also opposite its ruler. So there's a mutual reception going on, which is when you have two planets in each other's signs helping each other out, kind of adds to their ability to function. If they can see each other, which these two can, as it's in an opposition, they kind of lend their skills to the other planet in order to help them out. Now, they're both considered in detriment, so it's not the most ideal mutual reception. Some astrologers would not consider this a mutual reception just because of the condition of the planets, but I don't know. I still feel like it's relevant just due to the line of sight, which is when planets can see each other through a major Ptolemaic aspect of
so in some ways you're saying that mutual reception maybe mitigate some of the natural thing. I think what we're 9 degrees is kind of mutually applying, because you got that Mercury going faster, and then that Jupiter retrograde as well. So fast, right? But excellent point. Yeah.
So I kind of see that first, and then everything, they would be in angular houses as well. So tying in the public and the private life with regards to beliefs and communication and the way in which this native kind of functions. You also have Neptune again on the ascendant, so that's
you know what, I need to pick different charts next time. But actually, this is a good tool in the sense that if this Neptune acts differently to the one we saw before, because again, when we're looking at charts that we don't know if it's skilled or unskilled, so we don't know if the Neptune seems to be quite skilled for Paul McCartney, but is this the same case for this particular person? We don't know, or we will find out.
With the sun in Sagittarius in the 4th house, I wonder if this person had many homes or has many homes. It's being ruled by Jupiter in 10th, so I wonder if this person's career has led this person to move around a bit, or if their family's career caused them to move around.
They definitely moved around a bit. So Jazzy nailed it.
As a child, like maybe in childhood, they lived a lot of places internationally, or all of that, and continue to do that.
Guys are nailing it. Definitely moved around a lot as a child. Yep.
Yeah. And to kind of piggyback on that, Chelsea, I wonder if maybe if this person speaks different languages. Mercury's in Sag too, so maybe Mercury might have picked up a couple of, or just someone who just knows how to operate around a lot of different kinds of people. Moon is in Libra. Moon and Saturn again in the second house.
But
yeah.
it's in, yes, go ahead. Go. You're going to say what I think you're going to say.
No, what did you think I was going to say? Maybe not.
No, keep going.
No, that was pretty much the end of my point. Just that this might be somebody who feels comfortable in social settings, who gets an emotional kick out of being social, and who might find value in that with Moon in the second house. It leading to Saturn. Again, there could be emotional strife there, but yeah, I don't know. Chelsea, what do you think about Moon and Saturn?
Well, in this case, Saturn's exalted. It's not in Cancer and retrograde. So the dignity of Saturn is better. I mean, it's still Saturn in a night chart. So, right. It's still going to be Saturn. But at the same time, it squares Mars in Capricorn. So there's a reception going on there, not a mutual one, but a one-way. And Saturn is in decent condition in the fifth. Now, obviously, Mars-Pluto conjunctions are always going to be interesting. It's power struggle.
Yeah. Or someone who likes to control others with their actions.
Yeah, children, creative capacities, lovers, gamers, somebody that could be a compulsive gambler. I don't know. No, I'm just saying that's a big one. But fifth house subjects going into the second, it's hard to ignore like the money piece ties to that, right?
Maybe like a referee or something. Look, you got Saturn ruling the fifth house of fun, where Mars is, and Saturn bringing in a little restriction, limitation, a little structure. Maybe I'm just throwing it out there. Callum, is that far off?
We'll find out.
maybe it's someone. I mean, there is that connection of money with the either creative process. So I would assume, because it's a celebrity, there's something to do with making money off of their creativity and really wanting control over the creative process. Like,
that's a really important point. When we find out who this person is, 100%.
Like this person, I would assume on their day-to-day work, especially because also Saturn rules the sixth. They like to be in control, and 6 Aquarius, it's fixed. So it's like, I know what I'm doing. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with my process. Don't mess with my structures, even though maybe their structure is different than everybody else. They're very, very meticulous in that, I would assume, in their field. And the fact that 10th house against Gemini is also very vocal. So it's either radio, singing, or might be a singer again, or some kind of radio personality, podcast personality. Want to say MC, I'm trying to tie in. It might have to do, again, because the 10th and the 4th are tied. The subject of this person's career has to do with like maybe home things or traveling or
and with I like what you said with Moon right next to Saturn. I wonder if this person needs that control to feel like emotionally safe, or if they feel out of whack when their finances are not balanced with second house Libra. So I wonder that as well. But I like what you said, Laura.
Yeah.
And the money, and it's interesting you're focusing on the money area of this person's life, because it was not only a lot in their work that they talked about, but it was a focal point of this person's life as well. So I like how you're honing in on that, and it makes a lot of sense. I've actually thrown a bit of a curveball in here, and I don't know if you'll spot it at some point, but
well, the interesting also when you say that about money, I mean, you have Chiron opposite that whole Sun, Moon, Jupiter conjunction. So there is, at least with the money of others, resources of others, there's this thing that this person needs to heal about. That probably doesn't feel very comfortable with others' money, or feels like other people are trying to take their money, or maybe something to that. Curveball, you said, so it's not a singer, it's not an actor.
It's a one particular planet that's a curveball, and it'll give you an idea of the age?
Oh,
Age.
we've got to look to an outer planet.
Venus is in the third, ruled by Mars. We didn't talk about Venus yet.
Yeah, what might come to
Okay,
mind?
well, Pluto and Capricorn, the last time that happened was like 200 and some odd years ago.
There we go. So we're talking about someone way in the past.
Oh,
Good catch. Good catch.
thank you. Thank you. You're right.
They're having their Pluto return right now.
From beyond.
Yes. They might be coming up in the news again for some reason. I don't know, maybe on an astrology YouTube episode.
There you go. There you go. Okay, Laura, you're gonna hone in on the Venus. What did you want to say?
Well, I was just looking at planets we hadn't looked at, but you're right, Pluto is a better way to find age for sure. I was gonna say, so Venus is in the third. It's ruled by, again, Mars, that very controlling. So someone that made their environment better or more balanced or more beautiful, their day-to-day, whatever motivation started within where they grew up, right?
Yep, I think that very much applies. Yep.
I would say whoever that person is saw the world they were surrounded with and felt deeply about it and felt like it was a deep thing that they needed to rebalance. And they used their oratory. It's not Martin Luther King. No, he's older than that.
I like where you're going with this because
I have an idea.
Points.
I wonder if this is going to be right. But you have the ruler of the 7th and the 10th in a mutable sign.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say multiple relationships, multiple marriages, maybe. Venus in detriment, ruled by Mars in the 5th house, would be maybe somebody who didn't, think very highly of women, or who, I don't know. There's just something.
I like how you bring in the 7th.
Relationship.
Certainly difficulties in relationships. Obviously, you've got the ruler of the 7th, not in a great shape, detriment and retrograde, although angular, but certainly some relationship issues. So that's a good spot.
Yeah. And Venus in detriment, maybe what he thinks of women or she thinks of women might not be in high regard. Just an idea there.
Interesting take. Okay, any final thoughts before we reveal the last mystery chart? And for anybody watching, let us know in the comments if you spot anything that we've missed you'd like to share. We'd love to hear your thoughts too. So any final thoughts?
No, I'm very curious to know who it is.
Any extremely wild guesses?
I'm gonna say Henry VIII.
Oh no, but I like it.
Okay.
Not Henry VIII. Okay. There we go. Jane Austen.
Nice.
Novelist. Yeah.
Very good. Publishing. We forgot publishing in Mercury. Dang it.
And actually, I didn't talk about the house switch. So if we did look this in another quadrant, say go back to Placidus, you're going to move some of that. So you're going to have some 9th going on. Is that Jupiter go in the 9th and then the Mercury, Sun in 3rd? So sorry, that if you do that, and that's why it's good to use multiple house systems, because you're going to have that 3rd, 9th component as well. So
absolutely.
But you guys were really honing in, and especially when you guys were talking about money, because in a lot of her novels, it was in a society where females weren't in control of their resources or their finances, and she wrote quite extensively and specifically about money in her books, about who's who in society, and money played a key role in how people perceived others and stuff. So I loved how you guys delved into that part. What else do you want to say? You guys were so good with this.
Well, it's great that Neptune here on the ascendant, she actually used this in a skilled way, and being able to create a world that everyone could go into for her to share her stories with. And Virgo is the physical written word. It's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
interesting. Sorry, Jazzy, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, seeing Venus in 3rd house after knowing who it is, it's like, yeah. And then knowing that Mercury would have went into 3rd house in Placidus, that would have, for sure. A writer, Scorpio, it's writing deep, intensely about things that
Her
she's
books are
passionate about.
detailed.
Very deep, yeah, very
She has a
detailed. Virgo
very
on the
detailed
ascendant.
way of writing, and it's very, you know, she doesn't, her books are not like, they're not even easy to read to some degree. Some of them are like, you know, the stories are incredible, but they're, you know, it's just, it's not easy. Yeah, her writing style is very, very detailed and deep and ornate. So I do think that's cool.
Wonderful point. And actually going back to that Neptune in maybe in an unskilled way or an unfortunate way, it's quite interesting that she published her books as certainly the first couple, and she never put a name on.
Right.
Yeah. So it was like Neptune ascendant mystery, the mystery person, like who is like the ascendant, this is who you are, like who is this person who's writing these novels that for a long time no one knew who she was, because she didn't put a name on it. It was quite interesting. And she actually died of a mysterious illness. So right there on the ascent, no one knows how she died or what it was, what disease it was. So unskilled ways or things coming through. So that's quite an interesting Neptune compared to the Paul and McCartney that we saw before. But
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts? What else did we talk about?
No, I think her Lilith in the 12th house is also interesting. You know, it's her power came from her, you know, her Lilith is all about, if I'm not mistaken, you know, female empowerment and a lot of that too. It's just the other side of the moon kind of. So I do think it's cool that it's in Leo and in her 12th house.
And also, Laura, you talked before about beautifying her environment. So if you look back at what people said about her, she would love to, when she was writing, she had a very strict process and would never want to be disturbed. So she'd have like a particularly squeaky door to know that if anyone's trying to come in when she's got her writing, you know, we've got a preponderance of the planets in the southern part hemisphere. So a lot of this energy is kind of like, leave me alone, I'm writing at home, go away.
For sure. Yeah. And, you know, night chart, it's a lot more introspective. It's all about, and that's what she did. She took everything that was inside of her and put it on the page in her career. Like, and you can see the chart going up to the 10th. Like, it's literally the energy rising. You know, it's leave me alone, let me do my thing. And when I'm ready, when I control, when I'm ready, it's going to be out there.
That's a really good point, because it's kind of like the bucket of this energy if we're looking at chart patterns. So a lot of, as you said, a lot of that energy, you know, doing it, writing, being concentrated, and then it's all pushed out into the public. Maybe that retrograde element, it took a while for her to be noticed or to have fame, because I think she only made £650 in her lifetime through her work and wasn't really well known. And for a lot of artists, especially, they're well known after their passing.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, look at her, we're still making movies about her novels,
right?
Well, I mean, I think that's indicative of Venus, like at the North Bending, right? And fixed Scorpio, 3rd house, you know, all of that is very indicative of that, where that just over time, that's kind of what she was known for and has taken, that's what's become more public, being at that point. So that, I mean, for everything you said, you know, having something in such a way, having an environment that she can control, fixed in Scorpio, private, in writing, the 3rd house, you know, that's just so indicative of that.
It's a wonderful point.
Yeah, I feel like the Mars on Pluto in that creative house is like her using her creativity to take her power back.
I like that. That's a beautiful statement. Yeah. For being a female in that position in society where you know, not lauded, or you have to see what the males do and all that kind of thing. So taking that power back and using that creative power, as you just said, I think that's a wonderful point. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's her way of getting control over her livelihood too.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have been absolutely fantastic in these, and I can't wait to do more episodes of these, because you guys have nailed it. In fact, I'm going to pick better charts, because for some reason, or maybe in an unconscious way, I'm picking similar charts. So forgive me for that. Okay, I'm just doing a quick shameless plug here. So if everyone is enjoying this, again, put your comments in below if we've missed anything. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well. I'll be doing a similar thing to this called Back to Basics, and this will be on December 3rd from 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So this is kind of what we're doing, the same things. Everybody comes and we do some mystery charts, and you work together as the astrologers that we've got here, and go through more mystery charts and delineate charts together if you want to join on December 3rd. And I think we're going to limit to probably about 30 participants. So if you're watching this, I would suggest maybe sign up early, because once you start getting more than 30 people, I like people to participate. So if we get more than 30 people, it's going to be hard for everyone to be involved. So go and check that out on our website, KeplerCollege.org. And our last plug is our winter term will be starting next semester, and it'll begin on January 7th. So the natal charts that we do, this is all in our fundamentals program. So fundamentals 1, 2, and 3. So if you would like to check that out, go to our website, KeplerCollege.org. So now we're going to switch on to more information about you guys, and we're going to talk about your Kepler College experience. Okay, so first question, I'd love to hear your Kepler College experience so far. So Laura, what have you experienced, and how's it been for you?
Well, I want to say to everyone who's watching this, we are currently finishing Fundamental 3. So basically, I started off not knowing much. I had read a couple books. I was very interested in astrology. It's something that I'm very passionate about, but didn't know really how to get honing on the skills. So I started looking for courses. And what I loved about Kepler is it felt like a true track. There is a way to get from point A to point B. The instructors are super nice. Everyone, even in the classrooms, we are together. It feels like we're in class together, which is nice. Like we're starting to get to know each other, the students as well, and helping each other. And for me, it was all about finding like a place where I felt like when I walked out, I was certified to have a conversation about astrology with someone. I wasn't just going to some astro influencer and taking their class and then maybe, kind of learning on my own, because the fact that we have live classes, if the instructor is saying something I don't get, I can just be like, hey, what do you mean by that? And that's just so helpful. So that's why I chose Kepler, because I felt like I was going to have a true education versus kind of trying to do it on my own. And then I also don't have friends who are astrologers, so I can't just knock on people's door and be like, explain this to me, unless I pay, probably a consultation. So yeah,
Well, you used to not have friends.
No, now we do. I have a lot of astrologer friends now.
And that's such a wonderful testament in that sense of community and bouncing ideas from one another. Because I think self-study can be fine, or watching videos, that's okay as well. But to bounce ideas off each other and go through that, like doing something like this today, and it just shows really how you've honed in those skills from coming from a place where you might not have had extensive experience, but just how wonderfully you've done today by looking at the raw astrology without knowing who it is and delineating charts. I think it's a testament to your skills that you are developing and continuing to do, which is wonderful.
And thanks to our professors as well. I do have to run because I am not a full-time astrologer yet, but it was so nice to do this. I can't wait to do another one. And thank you for inviting me on this. I can't wait to see how it all comes out.
Wonderful. Thank you, Laura. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, who's going next? Who wants to go next? What your experience been like? Jazzy's pointing at you, Chelsea.
Oh, Jazz.
All right, yeah, my experience has been great. I started Kepler a year ago, like everyone else here, but before that, I was self-studying. I was reading books. I was at Barnes and Nobles just about, every couple of days, surfing online, looking at Chris Brennan, doing all the things. And I found so much clarity in my self-study, but I always wondered, how many holes do I need to fill? How many things do I think I know that I don't really know? That type of thing. And when I got to Kepler, boy, did I find out how much I didn't know. So I was very grateful to come. It's an amazing program. Like Laura mentioned, it's very interactive. So when you're in class, you don't actually have to just sit through a lecture and just kind of snore through it. They actually allow you to comment. They allow you to ask questions in the middle of the lecture, because if you have to wait till the lecture to ask questions, you might forget everything. So it's very helpful that the way they run class. And also I want to say, a lot of the students are coming into Kepler with a different level of experience. And so it's always great to learn from the other students as well. Everyone has their own astrological perspective, and it really has enriched my experience, not only being able to learn from the amazing professors and TAs, which they are amazing. I mean, these are like like A+, A1, A list, they're the top of the line, but the students are really intelligent as well. It's a crazy, crazy, amazing, good group of students that you get to learn with and journey through this thing with. And we are developing really good friendships. That means
That's
a lot.
wonderful. And of course the instructors and everybody learns from the students as well. So it's kind of, when you're bringing up techniques and someone will pop up with something like Jazzy or Chelsea, you guys will say something and it'd be like, it teaches as well. So I love that camaraderie and that bouncing ideas off one another. And but that's, yeah, thank you so much, Jazzy, for that testament. What would you like, which I forgot to ask Laura about, what would you like to do ultimately? What's your goal?
Oh, to help people. To help people with astrology. And I definitely will always do personal readings and different things like that. But you know what I'm also interested in? I'm interested in like doing astrological sort of what's the word? Like projects about humanity. Like I want to take astrology, kind of wide scope it a little bit, and study cultures and study different. I want to get into
so
that.
leaning more to more mundane work possibly and
I do
wider picture of society. Yeah,
I do, because I'm interested in not only how it affects us individually, but how it affects us collectively. So yeah,
absolutely wonderful. And Chelsea?
Yeah, I came into Kepler having studied a few years with certain people that are currently on the scene, and had aligned with, I'd been exposed to both modern and traditional astrology, and I still questioned before I really landed somewhere, kind of like Jazzy, okay, do I have everything at my disposal to be able to decide which way I want to go with my career and what I believe in? And so, I'd heard about Kepler, and the thing that I liked the most about it initially was how small the class sizes were, because I had taken several courses of several years worth of study with people that had hundreds of people in class. Which was great. I know they need to earn a living, of course, but it made it a very disconnected experience. And for me, I just needed a little bit more connection than that, which I feel Kepler definitely provides with the class sizes, how available the teaching staff is to answering questions in class, outside of class, in private chats. And I did like how we could go forward as a cohort together. And I think our cohort has been, we have a pretty good, strong group still. I think our cohort was one of the larger ones, I think, and maybe the first of the larger new waves kind of coming in. And all of us have really, it's good to see that everybody continues together, because we start to get to know each other well. And I feel bad for the teachers, because when you guys absorb all of us in the beginning, we already have got it jived down and dialed in, and they were the last ones to kind of catch up, but they catch up really, really quick, and we all end up having a great time together. So yeah, community-based, I think, would be a really great thing that would really kind of encompass Kepler. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, moving forward, I just look forward to continue to study. I haven't figured out where I'm going to land. I've got all my planets in the third quadrant, so I kind of just need to see where life takes me. And just, I think Karen said at one point, I need to just enjoy the ride. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that.
Go with the flow and see what comes out of it.
It's very hard for me. I tend to want to kind of control that and control my own destiny, but it really does end up being better if I can just allow things to happen. So I appreciate you allowing us to come on today and to participate with you. You are an amazing teacher yourself. We've all had you, and the ways in which you lend your time to all of us is awesome. You're not just the pretty face of Kepler on the outside. You provide a lot more behind the scenes that I don't think many people are aware of. So,
well, thank you for the kind words, and you guys are absolutely brilliant. And that's the focal point of Kepler College, because it's student driven as well. And you guys give so much. You guys make Kepler College what it is, because without you lot, I mean, that's just a bunch of us yapping away somewhere on a camera. So, and given the opportunity for people to come on and share their perspectives and their ideas, I think is so important, because I think when you get to a stage, and not denigrating any other areas, when you get to a point where it becomes very much a guru astrology, or which is some great or fantastic information, I think the advantage of Kepler College is having many different perspectives and many different paths to go down. So whether you're more lean towards traditional astrology or modern, or certain techniques you want to bring in, I think us at Kepler, we try and give a wide path to let everybody else choose where they want to go down. And I love what you said, Chelsea, about that sense of community as well. So wherever we live in our lives, we might not have access, or many people around us who are astrologers or understand the astrologies or the language we speak. So to be able to have that camaraderie, and to be able to, which you've done wonderfully as well, Chelsea, to bring everyone together, like today for Jazzy and Laura, bring groups together and push forward, I think is beautiful as well. So absolutely wonderful. So thank you both so much, and Laura, who will be watching later on, for joining us again. And we'll do another episode, and I'll choose better charts this time. I'll have to think.
You did great.
Pulled them up.
You did
I pulled them
great.
up.
Like you said, you learned from the students. We just showed all your holes right away. No, I'm just
That's
kidding.
right. No, that's right. I pulled them. I'm like, right. I have to think it through next time. So wonderful. Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for watching. Again, if we missed anything, put your thoughts down in the comments. We'd love to hear what you have to say too. And again, if you want to join us December 3rd, we'll be doing the back to
join. Go.
And our semester will be coming out. So wonderful. Well, thank you guys, and we'll speak to you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.